A to Z Mysteries, Book Number 18, The Runaway Racehorse, by Roy. Chapter 5. A hand on his shoulder woke Dink from a sound sleep. The light next to his bed was on. The black stallion lay on the bed covers, still opened. Through sleepy eyes, he looked into his uncle's face. "Morning, Donnie," Uncle Warden said quietly. "Time to get up." "Hi, Uncle Warden," Dink said. "You boys have to hop to it," Uncle Warden said. "Forrest wants to get on the road right after breakfast." He smiled at Dink and left the room. Dink tossed his pillow over at Josh's bed, then walked into the bathroom. Josh grumbled, but soon they were both dressed and headed for the kitchen. Forrest and Ruth Rose were sitting at the table eating oatmeal. Uncle Warden took a pot off the stove and filled bowls for Dink and Josh. "Everyone sleep all right?" Forrest asked. "I did," Ruth Rose said. She spooned some brown sugar over her cereal. Today her color was purple. Purple leggings, purple blouse, purple headband, purple sneakers. "Me too," Dink said, "except for Josh's snoring all night." They ate quickly, then left the house and piled into Forrest's car. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose sat in the back seat. They each had their books, and Josh had brought his pillow. Forrest turned out of his driveway and drove through Larchmont. After making a few turns, he was on a wide highway. Dink saw a sign that said Albany, 120 miles. A few hours later, they arrived in Saratoga Springs. Forrest pulled his car into a parking lot. They all climbed out of the car and stretched their legs. Under tall trees, Dink saw long green barns. Near the barns, men and women were grooming horses, feeding horses, exercising horses. There were horses everywhere. Ruth Rose took pictures of horses and one of a barn with the sun shining on the green wood. "Let's go find Sunny," Forrest suggested. "She'll be in barn E, stall number 21. They cut through some trees, following a wide path. Barns stood on both sides of the path. Each barn had a large letter painted on one side. The gravel walkway was crowded with people. Some were walking horses, others were just looking. "There's Barney," Josh said, sprinting ahead. Forrest, Uncle Warden, and the kids found Sunny outside stall 21. She had one foot on a bale of hay and was buffing her riding boot with a cloth. A can of black boot polish sat on the floor. "Hi, Sunny," Forrest said. Sunny wore white riding pants. Her silk racing shirt was green with yellow stripes on the arms. Circling her left arm was a cloth band with the number 21 stitched on. Her hair was tucked up under a hard hat covered in yellow silk. Oval-shaped goggles rested on the hat's visor. Sunny dropped the cloth and smiled. "Hi, everyone," she said. "Any problems?" Forrest asked. "He didn't want to walk into the trailer this morning," Sunny said. "And he definitely didn't like me getting him ready once we got here." "Good morning, Whirlaway," Forrest said to his horse. "Why are you giving Sunny a hard time, eh, boy?" Everyone peered into the stall. Whirlaway was standing in a corner with his eyes on the newcomers. "He looks terrific, Sunny," Forrest said. "Nice job." Sunny had brushed Whirlaway's coat till it gleamed. The white tape she'd wrapped around his ankles looked snowy against his nearly black coat. "Why do you wear goggles?" Ruth Rose asked Sunny. "To protect my eyes," Sunny said. "During races, the horses in front of me kick up dirt. You should see me when I race in the rain, totally covered in mud." "What time is the race?" Dink asked. "We're in the second one," Sunny said. 2:00. "We'll be cheering you on," Uncle Warden said. "Can I take a picture of you and Whirlaway?" Ruth Rose asked. "Sure," Sunny said. She walked into the stall and put her hand on Whirlaway's halter. Whirlaway rolled his eyes at her and threw his head back. Ruth Rose is right, thought Dink. Whirlaway doesn't like Sunny at all. Ruth Rose snapped a picture. Chapter 6. Okay, gang, let's go grab our seats, Forrest said. To get to Forrest's private box, they had to climb up 3 flights of stairs. Throngs of people filled the grandstand. Music was playing, and everyone seemed to be having a good time. The viewing box had a row of seats under a little roof. On both sides were other private boxes. Straight ahead was a perfect view of the starting gate and oval racetrack. How long is the race? Josh asked. Twice around the track, Forrest said. A stack of race programs was on one seat. Forrest handed them out. Whirlaway's on page 2, he said. The kids quickly checked and found Whirlaway's name. Sunny was listed as Whirlaway's jockey. This is so exciting, Ruth Rose said. She set her camera on the floor under her chair. A waiter wearing a white jacket came and took their lunch order. They made it simple for him. 5 cheeseburgers, 5 lemonades. Where did the horses end up? Josh asked. At the finish line, Uncle Warden said. Down there, behind the starting gate. The waiter brought their food. As they ate, they watched a group of horses and their riders come out onto the track. Some of the horses were bucking and prancing. The jockeys were outfitted in bright colors. Each rider wore goggles like Sunny's. The horses were white, gray, black, and several shades of brown. One was a golden palomino. Down below the owners' boxes, people were lined up along the track fence. They began cheering when they saw the horses at the starting gate. Suddenly, a man's voice came over the speakers. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, he cried. The first race is about to begin. While he called out the names of the horses and jockeys, the riders moved their horses up to the starting gate. Then a loud bell sounded, and the horses burst onto the track. The jockeys stood in the stirrups, their heads bent low over the horses' necks. The crowd shouted and cheered. Even above the noise, the kids could hear the thunder of the horses' hooves on the track. Clumps of dirt flew into the air behind each horse. And it's Mary May in the lead, the announcer exclaimed. Starburst is a length behind. Cranberry sauce is a third. Then it was over. A white horse had rocketed across the finish line first. And it's Mary May by half a length, yelled the announcer. As the kids watched, the jockey pranced Mary May to the winner's circle. A woman wearing a dress and a wide hat presented the jockey with a trophy. A man in a suit beamed and posed for a picture. That's the horse's owner, Forrest informed the kids. Is our race next? Dink asked, checking his program. Yes, in just a few minutes, Forrest said. He pointed to the track. The horses are coming out already. The 3 kids stood up. Which one is Whirlaway? Ruth Rose said, getting her camera ready. There are a lot of dark horses with white marks on their foreheads. Forrest pointed over her shoulder. In front of the white horse, he said. See Sunny's yellow hat? And you can see the big 21 on Whirlaway's saddle blanket. The horses and riders approached the starting gate. When the announcer shouted, Number 21 is Whirlaway, ridden by Sunny Fields, Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose cheered. Ruth Rose snapped a picture. Forrest put 2 fingers in his mouth and whistled. Then the announcer's voice boomed over the loudspeakers. Now the second race, an even dozen beauties out there. And then the starting bell sounded and the race was on. The crowd began yelling, but didn't drown out the announcer's voice. What a sight, folks! Fancy Pants is out front. High Five is next. Here comes Pretty Balloon on the outside. And look at this. Dancer is sneaking up on Pretty Balloon. He's passing high five. Dancer is in the lead. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose were on their feet. They jumped and yelled, "Come on, Whirlaway!" But Whirlaway was nowhere near the front. Number 21 was second to last as the horses barreled toward the finish line. By the time the race was over, Whirlaway had fallen back even more. He came in dead last. The kids sat down disappointed. Forrest stared at the racetrack. "What happened?" Uncle Warden said. Forrest shook his head. "Whirlaway has never run so badly," he said. "There's something wrong."